We're the last people on the network to finally talk about all of the happenings from AEW X New Japan Forbidden Door. And we're the first on the network to talk about WWE Money in the Bank, blind rankings, undertakings, and more. It's a double main event. It's Final Wrestling Place.
You're listening to the soon-to-be-named network, the Lamborghini of podcast networks.
Are you ready to listen to Final Wrestling Place? Kick it! Yeah! Yeah! You wanna be in the good place, fool? You better be doing what you're supposed to do. Bad place, little boy. Good place, little man. Bring it down. Final Wrestling Place. Final Wrestling Place.
Welcome to Final Wrestling Place. I am Tim.
Oh, I'm still Marcus.
And of course, man, we're back in the saddle again. So many things to talk about. So many things to cover. And I'm not going to jinx us, Marcus. This will not be a light show.
No short show this week.
Dog, when you put the run sheet together, it is a full message on iPhone that I almost have to scroll.
It's a book of the Bible. Yeah. It probably took me a good 40 minutes to put all that together while getting distracted by my 4-year-old.
Dad distracted?
Dad distractions. Yeah. It was a lot to get into this week, but that's a good problem to have, man. Got a lot of good wrestling to talk about, and looking forward to getting into it.
So I want to be upfront with everybody at first before we get into everything. By the way, thanks for joining us on your podcatcher of choice, catching us on YouTube, however you do it. Like, comment, subscribe, everything. YouTube.com/@Final Wrestling Place. I hate how they do it, but go there, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, just for whatever, for optics sake. But I want to be upfront with everybody before we get into the meat and potatoes of this. Next week, we are invoking PTO, perhaps. Mr. Marcus and the consortium are going on a anniversary weekend trip-a-rooski, and I'm actually doing commentary this weekend. So I'll be working, you'll be leisuring, and it'll be fun. If there's a chance to possibly do a short show, mayhaps if the TNM show's Discord channel gets flooded with user questions from the listener base, or if @TNM shows on Twitter gets hit up with some questions, or if finalwrestlingplace@gmail.com or the YouTube section, YouTube comments get flooded with questions, we can do a quick Q&A, or rather, I will do a quick Q&A while Marcus is out enjoying the fruits of his wedded labor. But if you don't see anything from us next week, it is planned PTO. You can thank Ed and Hayabusa for all of that carrying over to us and us grandfathering ourselves in that plan. But Marcus, we've got a ton of stuff to cover. We've got, of course, Forbidden Door thoughts and the Owen tournament. We've got Money in the Bank thoughts. We've got especially the latest happenings and announcements from Money in the Bank. And no, I'm not talking about avoiding the Vince McMahon question. But of course, Undertaking's weekly purchases. But we're starting off with everybody's favorite subject of all times. And I promise we both have them this week. It is blind rankings. Marcus, do you have your 5 in front of you?
Oh, yes, I do.
I feel like I should go first.
Oh, okay.
Because I let the people down last week. So I'm going to make it up to them with this little sticky pad. So on here are 5 one-time wrestling tournaments.
Okay.
And you are going to rank them from 1 to 5.
Okay.
However you want to rank them, and if you want to tell a story about any of them as you go, feel free. So are you ready?
Yes.
We are going to start with the 1996 WCW tournament called the Lord of the Ring tournament, won by Diamond Dallas Page.
That feels like instant 5.
Oh, okay. There's some gristle on here. I'm just letting you know. I'm letting you know. Next up, it is the 2005 WWE special. It is the Gold Rush tournament.
We'll put that at 2.
Oh, you're a Gold Rusher.
I like the Gold Rush tournament.
Nice.
Yeah, I thought it was a dope name. It gives us the Shawn Shelton match, gives us the Edge and Kane finals, gives us one of my all-time favorite sound clips from Jim Ross. You'll pay for this.
You'll pay for this, you son of a bitch. Is that the one?
Yes.
I gotta find that. I gotta find that and add it to the soundboard.
And what is wrong with these people? You'll pay for this.
That's
he
perfect.
Is so upset.
He is. He's very grouchy. So next up, the 1998 WWF tournament, the Deadly Game.
I'm gonna go ahead and put that at 1.
All right, cool.
It is
cool.
It is very, very well booked. Not well wrestled, but it is well booked, and yeah.
Nice. Next up, it is the Paparazzi Championship Series.
I'm gonna go ahead and go 3.
3.
The vignettes are probably better than the matches.
We're gonna drop in with real-time results. After getting hit with a trick knee, Ethan Page pins Javon Evans to become the new NXT champion.
What I tell you, the kid's in there to take the fall.
They're in a better place. What can I say? But Marcus, your last ranking to give, and if you have a story about it, we can talk about it. But this is, I feel, a 2014, 2015 vehicle. Maybe. Let me actually get the dates right, because I feel like I'm not... I've given the correct dates on everything, and I feel like this will do it as well. I can just go to here. The 2015 vehicle, the Challenge of the Immortals.
Oh, gosh, I should have been off the list. I feel bad for Lord of the Ring. Sorry, you are not the worst. The most upsetting part of that is, let's say the head of the tournament, the decision man, he had no idea how, drafts worked at all. Didn't understand how to make a team. He didn't understand what should be prioritized when trying to form a team. Absolutely nothing. I don't think he'd ever actually seen a draft. He wanted it to be pulled off in live time like a draft, which a couple of us were actually like, this would be cool. Can we please do more? No, we got told to retweet the picks as they were coming in or something, and it was just so frustrating because it could have been cool. Um, don't let people who aren't sports people do sports things in wrestling.
Gotcha. So you're saying that this is not 4 and this should actually be 5.
Without question.
Okay. If you had to pick your favorite team from the Challenge of the Immortals. Nah, I'm kidding. Do you remember who won? Do you remember who won the whole thing?
I mean, it would have been Kim and the Ice Creams.
And who was number
right?
4?
Jervis was on the team, right?
Jervis Cottonbelly.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Because Kim. I remember the night where Kim wins the title vividly. I remember those couple months pretty vividly.
Because she beat Wicked for it, right?
Yes, in Philly.
Mm-hmm. In the Wrestle Factory.
No, at the arena.
Oh, okay. That's right. Yep.
At the arena. Yeah. Was there a Cybernetico that night?
I think there was.
I think I was in a somebody like me might have been in a Cybernetico that night.
I'm trying to maybe take a look-see and see if I can maybe see when that might have been.
2014 or 15.
Well, the tournament happened in 2015.
2015. Okay, so then it's 2015.
Okay, so it's not. Because I'm looking through. Here we go. So it would have been on Anniversario.
2016?
Yes.
Okay.
And this is actually in the UK.
Okay, nope, that's not it.
Wait. Never mind. That is the title change back.
Okay.
That is the title change back. So where is the win? There we go. It is Top Banana. And there was a Cybernetico there at the 2300.
Okay.
Yeah. A blast from the past, Juan Francisco de Coronado wins. But yeah.
I remember one of the few things that I haven't been blocked out from
Wrestler Brain.
Wrestler Braid, PTSD, CTE, any other initials you can come up with.
Nice. Did anybody's car get broken into that day at the 2300?
Not mine.
Right. I mean, I know that, but
yeah.
I feel like anytime Chikara ran at the ECW arena, somebody got a window busted out.
It's a time-honored tradition.
A tradition unlike any other, minus the green jackets altogether. But do you have a blind ranking for me? Enough trauma talk about Chikara.
Yes, thank you. All right, Mr. Tim. For you, I have blind ranking of these John Cena matches.
Oh, a foreshadowing for a little bit later today.
If you will. All right. Your first one to rank is John Cena versus JBL from Judgment Day 2005 in the I Quit match.
That's a really it's a sneaky good John Cena match. I'm gonna put it at 4. Even though it's really good. Even though it's really, really good, I feel like you are proving your blind ranking is to prove a point that John Cena actually had good matches.
Oh no, that's not mine at all. I just picked some really good John Cena matches. Next up for you is versus Kevin Owens from the Elimination Chamber event in 2015.
I think so. I'm trying to prognosticate where your head is with some of these matches as to like which matches are going to get included or excluded. I don't think the Elimination Chamber match is the good one. I feel like there was a match on Raw that's supposed to be better than this. Because this is where Cena like gets the win back, right? Because KO beats him on Raw. And then there's the run back.
So after you rank it.
3.
All right. No, this is where Owens beats him up on Raw, challenges him, and then he gets his win at Elimination Chamber.
Okay.
First shot. Next up for you is John Cena versus Umanga from the 2007 Royal Rumble in a last man standing match.
I don't care what anybody says. This is number 1. You can put CM Punk on this list. You can put AJ Styles on this list. Umanga, I'll go to the grave on this one. That's number 1.
All right. Next up for you, from the same year, it is John Cena versus Shawn Michaels from the 4/23/07 Raw.
I'm putting it at 5 just because long doesn't mean good. Now, granted, this is great. However, I don't need a 57-minute match on Monday Night Raw. That's not the avenue for it.
And your number 2 is versus Randy Orton from SummerSlam 2007.
Okay. You could do worse than that, I think. I think you could do worse.
Yeah. A lot of 07 on the list.
Yeah. I'm surprised you didn't slip a single CM Punk match in there. You didn't put that awesome AJ, which is the number 1 John Cena match, I think. The SummerSlam match with AJ.
Mm-hmm.
His match with Seth.
Mm-hmm.
At Survivor Series, or not Survivor Series, at the Summerfest.
SummerSlam
with John
is really
Stewart,
good.
Right?
Yep, that is really good.
There's also
crazy that might be the best Seth Rollins match. It may not be the best Cena match, but it is probably the best Rollins match.
And then also, isn't there the run back at Night of Champions where Seth has to pull double duty?
Yes.
And he loses to Cena, but then murders Sting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Good to know Seth Rollins was not as efficient enough at his job to get the job done on the Stinger. But that's good. So
It's take a little bit more than a little corner buckle bomb.
Or 2.
Take out the Stinger. Or 2.
Or 2. Yeah, so those are good blind rankings. Let us know in the Discord or however you like to get a hold of us. Some of you have our phone numbers. Text us. I don't care. But let's get into some of the double main event, if you will, as we talked about. We'll go in chronological order because that makes the most sense, doesn't it?
Does.
AEW New Japan Forbidden Door. If Joe and Adam and DJ and Brett haven't said enough about this, I think the internet at large has said the most about it. But I feel like at least you and I, have at least one victory lap to do with this entire card.
Sure do.
Do we want to lead off with our victory lap?
If it's the same victory lap I'm thinking of,
where we're vindicated that we're right.
I know I called the shot for.
Oh, I'm not talking about that one. That was
okay.
I'm talking about where everybody and their mama is trying to convince me and you that Mercedes Moné is good.
Oh, that one.
That one. And then listening to the sounds of the network. Oh man, maybe Mercedes ain't that good. And maybe Stephanie Fakor made Mercedes Moné look like dryer lint.
I feel like I'm taking crazy pills when people try to come up with whatever new excuse it is for the month of why Sasha Banks did not fully deliver in a match. It's everything from an ankle injury that she's been cleared of for months and months and months, from, oh, she's in a new company. Oh, it's a new character, even though it's the same character. Oh, she's only had 3 matches, but maybe if you've only had 3 matches, don't politic yourself to win 2 titles in those 3 matches. I don't know. I don't know what it's going to take. And now she is a heel, as we will get to. They have leaned in and done what they should have done from the very beginning, and turned her heel fully. And it was right in front of you. Like, it was right in front of you. Like, this is what an extremely good wrestler, and if you want to put women's wrestler caveat on it, whatever, but this is what a really great wrestler looks like in 2024, and it's Steph Vicker, and that is a really high bar, and it like, I almost can't compute sometimes like how good you have to be to like be at that level, but that's where the bar is at. And don't try to tell me or show me that, oh, I'm just as good as that. No, you're not. Because like, I literally had no clue who this person was. Nothing is against Stephanie Vicker, but like, I have no clue if that was her best match or not. I'm guessing it probably wasn't. And where does that rank on Mercedes Moné, Sasha Banks great matches? And where does that rank on great matches that didn't have 2 months to prepare in a warehouse in Tampa or Orlando, Florida? Probably pretty high up there. So I don't, it's just not for me. It's not for me. Stephanie Vicker is dope. Right. I really enjoyed getting to see her, find out what all the hype was about, over delivered. And I feel like I didn't see her best. As good as she was, I felt like there's another level to her game. So whether she stays in CMLL or goes to AEW or WWE, as some news has leaked out that she's receiving interest from the 2 major companies.
Rightfully so.
It's a good time to be her, because she is really, really, really good. And that's what a great wrestler looks like in 2024. Like that was my takeaway from watching her.
Nice. Yeah, I mean, I'm right there with you. It's not blind hate on Mercedes, and like, I don't want to hate her in the ring. Like, now when we say hate, we don't mean the person. We mean like the wrestler, obviously. But yeah, man, not for me, non-preferred, non-anything. But if they're gonna lean into this heel side, quote unquote, at least make me like weaponize my dislike for Mercedes by giving you the reaction you want, as opposed to trying to convince me that this pile of crap is a chicken sandwich. No.
Right. And like, you heard her get booed on Dynamite, and it's not because, oh, she's a great heel. It's because that audience, that AEW audience, has been waiting to boo her and waiting for a reason to boo her since the second she stepped out of the tunnel.
Right.
That's why. Because they are rejecting something that is so clearly like AI generated from the NXT warehouse.
Yeah. That sounds fair.
It's like they regurgitated Cody and they got back Mercedes. Like, it's almost like the same thing. And I don't know. I just don't like it. I don't like any of it.
Yeah, I don't either. But I mean, I'm hoping for the best. I'm hoping that all the parties involved can find a way to make her palatable, at least for my viewing, and heighten those that still like her. At least moving forward.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot more interesting things that shook out from Forbidden Door. What's on the top of your list?
Oh, I mean, a match I did enjoy was Tony versus Mina. Some great story, some good action, and I thought the best action was what I had prophesized, what I had sent in the packet, for Joe to send to TK. It was nice to see my little bit of shadow booking get some love. I thought it was the only way that angle could have ended, and I was not let down.
Right. And let me play not devil's advocate, but Grease is a thing. We all love Grease. #Grease. But some of y'all is too greasy. And I'm not talking about, look, the Council of Grease and their subsidiaries were on their best behavior. I'm not talking about any of our own. I'm talking about the idiots out there in the public with their egg. Are the egg emoji or the egg avatar still a thing on X? I don't know.
No clue.
I don't know. But we're talking about Twitter handles with 97 numbers at the end. And yeah, y'all too greasy. Y'all too greasy. Like, we lived in the era of HLA and like Trish Stratus being forced to get down on all fours and bark like a dog to Vince McMahon. Like, 3 girls just doing a little innocent kiss. That was their character before they even got to AEW. Oh, come on. Like, you forgot where we came from? This is the worst of it? This is your hill to die on?
Sometimes it's not the what, it's the who.
Heaven forbid 3 women who are really good at what they do and look good doing it. Heaven forbid they do something so scandalous.
Yeah. I know Hellions had asked on At Odds maybe a week or two ago if anybody could if there was any men that could replicate this angle, and I feel like we saw it first with the men last year with Adam Cole and MJF and Roderick Strong.
No, the answer is Billy and Chuck and Rico.
Also a great answer.
I would love that.
Anything else from Forbidden Door?
Oh, it's definitely more stuff. By the way,
okay.
Bill Gunn has an interview with Chris Van Vliet out. Internet wrestling robot Chris Van Vliet.
Yes, not a real person.
Not a real person. Not problematic. Better Canadian Sean Ross Sapp. Softball Brandon Thurston. Like, I think that describes Chris Van Vliet. Right?
Chris Van Vliet will literally be like, hey, you did that move one time. How did that come up?
Well, so I saw the Twitter posts or the advertising for it where Chris Van Vliet was asking Billy Gunn about his him being on an episode of Sabrina the Teenage Witch.
Okay.
And where he's beating up Melissa Joan Hart. Oh, we're up and about, Miss Pepper. My dog is finally roaming around, feeling good, feeling great. Don't get into anything. But Forbidden Door, it's hard to not talk about Forbidden Door and skirt over the main event. Swerve and Will Ospreay.
Did the match deliver for you?
100%.
Yeah.
I'm starting to hate like how automatic Will Ospreay matches are. Like, if he is in the ring, I'm pretty much already clocking it like no headlocks, no lockups, gentlemen's 3. Right? Like they could do nothing and just
he starts with a high floor and he still exceeds the ceiling like every time. It's insane. It's pretty sickening. And the same goes for Swerve in, the last year or so. Whether it's character stuff or it's come down to the stuff in ring. He doesn't miss either. So this was really cool, man. And it was refreshing that like a company just said, we're going to put our best match out there right now while we have it, while both guys are red hot. And we're going to do it. And also, like, for the most part, very little funny business. And we're going to have a winner, pretty much clean. And I liked what Ospreay had said about, like, afterwards, like, if you go out there and you wrestle your best and you lose to a champion like Swerve, there is no like bad loss. Like it doesn't harm you at all. And I thought that was a great point. I just really liked AEW again, like as the challenger brand.
Right.
I know WWE's got SummerSlam coming up. They had Money in the Bank this weekend.
Right.
But like, kind of even with like Money in the Bank, granted, Money in the Bank is different. You include some different people than you normally would in the matches and stuff like that. But like AEW just said, hey, this is a big show for us, not our biggest show. We're putting our 2 best guys out there in the main event. We're giving people our hottest match right now. And I thought that was pretty cool to do.
Yeah, and I think if anything, the shock of it being where Swerve retains.
Yeah.
That's awesome, right? Like, we all kind of had the thought going in that this was automatic. Will's winning both straps. But keeping Swerve strong while also keeping Will Ospreay strong, pretty sweet. Because now it definitely left more better questions for All In Wembley than what would have happened had Will been double champ Jones heading into Wembley.
Yeah.
Right?
Or even if we would have got a 60-minute time limit. Like,
right, because at that point, if it's a 60-minute time limit, then like the first question is, well, what the heck is the Owen for?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because if you go 60 minutes, obviously you got to run back. You have to run back that match, right?
Right.
Do you just give it away on a Dynamite?
Or do you just push the Owen to, okay, now it's you challenge for the title at All Out?
Right, but then my next question would be, does that diminish what the Owen is actually for, right? You've put the Owen on this pedestal now. The winners are guaranteed title shots at your biggest event of the year in a stadium at Wembley, right?
Yeah.
And then you do this 60-minute draw for the title. Oh, by the way, the winner of the Owen is now actually going to go to the 3rd biggest venue in Chicago, and they're going to wrestle the winner of Swerve and Will Ospreay at All Out 2 weeks after the biggest event of the year.
Right. It's definitely lesser than, but we just didn't know what was or wasn't on the table. And in the end, we didn't need it because we just got Swerve straight up.
Right. And now it kind of makes it makes what's left over, the remnants of it, the Owen tournament, especially the Owen final, all that more interesting. Especially with who we have now as our finalists. And we'll get to that once we're fully wrapped up with Forbidden Door talk. Is there anything else from Forbidden Door that kind of made it newsworthy for you?
I think that was pretty much it for me, other than like Takeshita obviously is the dude. And like I'm sometimes an audible just needs to be called. Like Jack Perry's always going to be there. He's always going to be there, and he will always be at this exact level or below of however hot he is or isn't. Like this is I believe as hot as he's ever going to get is coming off the CM Punk stuff, which had a lot of real life aspects to it, which had a lot of real life ramifications, which had everybody had an opinion on who was right, who was wrong, yada, yada, yada. I don't think there's ever going to be this level of emotional involvement or interest again in Jack Perry. Get the title to him on TV. Like Takeshita is so over, and anytime they put that dude in a match, another guy who over delivers, he's got everything you could want, and he's just like top utility player who always comes off the bench and always loses in AEW. And I got it at first when like they were courting him and he hadn't signed yet and he was wrestling these big matches on Dynamite and he was losing. Got it. And then he signs and he's still like losing a lot. And here we are over a year into the Takeshita thing and he's still losing. It's frustrating. Like this TNT title isn't going to do anything special for Jack Perry, but it could do something special for Takeshita. And they said it on We Need Wrestling. Like, if you can't call an audible, if you can't hook up Takeshita with your third or fourth singles title down from the top, like, what are you doing with this dude?
That's my question. Is when will we get to the point for Takeshita where he goes, you know what? Don't care anymore. And like, I mean, he already had that article come out like a couple months ago, right? Talking about how like he's just not having fun anymore. And like not being in Japan and being in the United States and wrestling in the States is just not fun.
Right. And a lot of that was him trying to kayfabe an interview. But like,
but even
you know,
then,
it probably comes from a source of truth. Like there's probably a couple truth nuggets in there.
Mm-hmm. And if so, like at what point are you just creatively unfulfilled? Because you can make an extreme analogy to what's happening with Ricochet or what happened with Ricochet, right? Mm-hmm. You're talking about another dude who is super uber talented in the ring, right? You cannot question. You can question a lot of things about a lot of people, but in the ring, in between the four ropes, like Ricochet is a specimen, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how many times are you going to start and stop and start and stop and start and stop and start and stop before the person who is getting started and stopped on is sick of it, right? And then eventually
the audience is sick of it.
Yes. And that's almost worse than when the performer is, right? Because the performer can fake it till they make it, right? It's all performance. But right. when your audience loses faith in you as a performer, and like it's Dolph Ziggler syndrome.
Mm-hmm.
Dolph Ziggler's in a big match. Oh, he's probably gonna lose. Which every 6 months you throw Dolph Ziggler a bone and you give him like a really high profile win. Look at him being the sole survivor of that Survivor Series team with the Sting debut. Count the number of losses he had as Mr. Money in the Bank before cashing in on Del Rio, only to then lose the title 3 weeks after or like a month after. Now, granted, there was injury involved with that, but still.
Yeah.
Ziggler never sniffs the title again.
To me, like, take your Dolph Ziggler, Ricochet, any guy who's in that category of guys of oof, like there's something special about them. They should, or they're really hot right now, or they're doing the best company matches. Like they should be like in the main event, or like featured more, whatever. Take all them dudes and like Off the top of my head, I feel like Takeshita is the one that like I have the least questions or concerns about. I don't. He's a dreamy man.
Mm-hmm.
He's tall. That dude's thick. He can wrestle every single style, which is extremely popular right now. He's extremely versatile in the ring. He can do tag stuff. You can put him with the manager. He's so charismatic. He doesn't need to cut a promo. How many great Jeff Hardy promos have you heard? Not a lot, but incredible babyface, right?
I'm still standing.
I'm still standing. You don't always need a great promo when you have that kind of natural charisma as a babyface. Everybody says they want the total package, but then when they get it, you opt for politics and you opt for your friends and you opt for, pillars that have pretty much turned to dust in the last 3 or 4 years.
Do you want to know who I just thought of as a really good player comparison to the versatility of Takeshita?
Mr. Claudio?
No.
Okay.
No. More in tune with who Takeshita is. He's a person who can work, who like back in his prime could work any style of match, could be paired with anybody, and still perpetually over and super charismatic. And the fans just gravitated to him. Kota Ibushi.
Okay.
Whether he's teaming with Kenny or he's on a singles run or he's doing stupid deathmatch stuff or like hardcore stuff or funny haha stuff, like Ibushi could do it all. And Takeshita's right there too. Like, I don't know if I've seen a bad Takeshita match. Well, there was that one with Claudio at Battle of the Belts. And that's not saying that the match was bad. It's just I see the two of them and I'm like, I kind of want more.
One match that didn't exceed expectations.
It hit the bar. Like,
yeah.
It's there. Like, it clocked in exactly where, like, if you're tracking it, it's right there. It meets expectations. Doesn't overstay its welcome. Perfect. But there's fallout from Forbidden Door that we've talked about, and that's the Owen, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're finally at the finals for the men and the women's. For the women, Willow looks to two-time against Mariah May, who a lot of us internally really would love to see win this thing. If only because of the involvement with Tony Storm. And on the men's side, Bryan Danielson looking to follow through on his promise to end his retirement run with some hardware against a returning, angry, gruff Hangman Adam Page. And of course now, who'd have thought that the catalyst, the straw that was going to be stirring the men's Owen drink is the last outlaw, Double J, Jeff Jarrett.
The chosen one?
The chosen one.
The king of the mountain?
The king of the mountain. That's right.
The world's greatest singer?
Yep.
The world's greatest wrestler?
Yep.
The world's greatest entertainer?
Double J, double MA. Yep.
How about the founder?
The founder.
Well, yeah, that Jeff Jarrett, yeah.
Yeah. Which other one would have been?
I would have thought the whole time.
The son of the famous chicken salad recipe writer.
If you want to hear, probably our thoughts echoed in live time, go back and listen to At Odds. Joe has really been the captain of the Jarrett ship. But I'm standing right there with him.
I don't know. I don't think that there's anybody on the Soon to Be Named network that has been a bigger Jeff Jarrett supporter since day one than me. You see how crazy that sounds when somebody like takes the nightmare narcotic from me and tries to make it something, and then everybody, it doesn't work that way, Joe. It doesn't work that way. So, I'm very interested to see where the enforcer role lands.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Cause it smells rather spicy. Either way, we're either gonna get it called right down the middle and we're gonna honor Owen Hart, or there's gonna be some chicanery and we're gonna honor Owen Hart.
Like, is Jeff Jarrett gonna tune up the Young Bucks? I'd love to see it.
Is he gonna tune up? Is he gonna tune up Bryan Danielson? I'd love to see it.
Is he gonna tune up? Sure would. Like, would I love Jeff Jarrett versus Bryan Danielson at Wembley Stadium? Absolutely would. Like, should Bryan Danielson do a full-on Memphis angle going it like on this fake retirement tour? Should he do a Memphis angle? He absolutely should. He absolutely should. Like, Mr. I love all styles of wrestling. Prove it. Prove it. Do a Memphis angle. Let me see it. I want to see you do it. Do it. Do a full start to finish Memphis angle with truly the last outlaw. Do it. Do it with Jeff Jarrett. I want to see you do it. I've had Bryan Danielson's always going to have great matches. This dude is going to be incapable of having great matches. He's always going to have great matches. That's great. I want to see you take a fireball.
Well, fireballs are kind of Chris Jericho's thing now. So
no, the full property of Memphis. Take it back anytime.
Yeah.
I want to see. I want to see Bryan Danielson get hit by a car.
Can this lead to Jeff Jarrett versus Bryan Danielson empty arena with Tony Schiavone playing the Lance Russell?
Do it. Do it in Jacksonville. And
do it at Daly's place.
He loves wearing that little eye patch. Let Jeff Jarrett, tune you up with an El Kabong and maybe a shard of guitar get stuck in your eyeball. You got to wear your little eye patch.
Or even better, one of the strings of the guitar whaps him.
Mm-hmm.
You ever got hit by a guitar string? No, because neither of us play guitar. But that junk hurts.
Yeah, do a Memphis angle. I want to see it. That's what I want to see. For me, the more interesting development is on the women's side. You've mentioned a lot of people pulling for Mariah May. I'm personally in the Willow camp. I want to see Willow go back to back, and I think her versus Tony would be pretty compelling. Again, almost from like the Swerve and Will Ospreay. Like, we're taking our two hottest talents and putting them in the world title match.
Mm-hmm.
I would find that intriguing. Understand the stories there with Mariah. And what does it do for like Statlander if Willow absorbs losing the title and then absorbs like having her friends turn on her, and then she recovers by like winning the Owen and then going to Wembley Stadium? Like, where does that leave the Statlander feud, which I feel like isn't over? So
no.
Yeah, I don't know Willow's path, but I'd love to see it.
Yeah, and I feel like with Willow, a Willow Tony final, like a match at Wembley, would take AEW's hottest female character in Toni Storm, who is rooted in this fantasy world, right? Against AEW's second hottest female, who is absolutely rooted in this realism, right?
Right.
And and Willow lives in this Technicolor Dreamcoat world where she's larger than life and she's bright and she's bubbly and like she is energy personified, whereas Tony lives in black and white.
Mm-hmm.
She lives in this rotoscoped, foregone, time lost era, right? And just the clash between the two, right? It's definitely going to have a feel of like Judy Garland lands on the witch and walks out of the house in Oz, and the black and white turns into the world of color, right? That to me is Tony and Willow. But you also do have the Mariah May facet, and how long can Mariah actually sit underneath Tony before finally, like, it feels organic that Mariah can win here and then go on to Wembley, and you do Protege and Master one-on-one. It's the typical WrestleMania trope, right? If this is your big show, you do it. But I don't think you can go wrong. I think
I guess there's gonna be people argue that, like, oh well, Tony's a babyface right now. But if it's Tony and Mariah, don't you think Tony's gonna lean heel for Mariah to be babyface at Wembley? So you're probably gonna do a little something to heat up Tony, which again won't stick because she'll be a babyface the second the match is over. So
right.
Might as well, to me, have Willow win anyways, but that's just where I'm at.
Right. I feel like there's more guesswork involved on the men's side than there is on the women's side. Like, I don't think you can go wrong with either winner of the women's Owen. I feel like depending upon, I guess it all depends on Jeff Jarrett, right? It really does depend on Jarrett.
That's the show title, baby.
No, it depends on Jeff Jarrett.
It all depends on Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, but it really does depend on Jarrett and how they actually go through with the enforcer role.
Mm-hmm.
Is it down the middle? Is it called like a straight up match? Mm-hmm. If so, and Danielson wins, Swerve gets his dream match at Wembley. Swerve for the title against Bryan Danielson. And then that leaves the Hangman open to possibly fill in on this fifth man of Blood and Guts, which, by the way, I ain't never seen a surprise Blood and Guts in my entire life, but we're here. It just, it felt
like
kind of...
The Bucks issued the challenge during a walk and talk promo a couple weeks ago, and like it was just like, okay, we're having Blood and Guts. Like,
it felt like it feels so uninteresting. Like there's it's heatless. It feels like.
Yeah, it is heatless. Yeah,
and Mark Briscoe is the first dude to answer the call. The guy who's not involved with the Elite at all.
Mm-hmm.
Wild. So it's not here to bash Blood and Guts, but if Jarrett ends up in the pocket of the Elite, which there's a possibility that he is, just like Christian and the Patriarchy in the pocket of the Elite, right?
Mm-hmm.
If Jarrett turns on Danielson, and we get
with the old guitar,
the git fiddle, whammo. If we get that, and then we get Swerve Hangman for the belt, dog, I need Swerve to make like a smoothie out of Hangman's blood.
So like, not to be like a headcanon character nerd, but like, I personally, I was not pleased that I got so emotionally invested in Jeff Jarrett for the payoff to be that Adam Page is an angry drunk and not a sad drunk anymore. I felt like this didn't need to be included in the Owen, but it is, and here we are. That said, it feels like it's triple stamped and double stamped that he's going to be facing Swerve at Wembley for me. But for his character, since he's been back, he still views himself as the good guy, which is, you see his motive. And he beat up Jeff Jarrett, who we all love and the audience loves. Mm-hmm. And he did it within the construct of the match. and he lacked empathy, which is a heel thing in wrestling. But he did it within the match, and he didn't cheat, and he was just vicious. And he's doing it all so that he can redeem himself and his family and take out the evil that he still believes is Swerve, while everybody else has come around on Swerve. But when confronted with his friends and by his old friends, the Elite, and like, I'm really mad again that like this whole great Jeff Jarrett thing was wasted on another endless chapter in the endless story of like the Elite saga. But Hangman is still like, no, you dudes suck. Like, you dudes are bad dudes. You just use people. I'm a grown man now. You're not going to use me. I don't want anything to do with you guys. So like, he's still a babyface in that sense. So he is still operating as a babyface outside of anything that has to do with getting to Swerve and becoming world champion, because Swerve is world champion, and taking that from him. So I don't see Jeff Jarrett straight up hitting Danielson to aid Hangman or at the behest of, I think I use that word right, of the Young Bucks. It's got to be some kind of, maybe Danielson accidentally pushes Double J or something. Something happens that like invokes Jeff Jarrett.
It is Mr. Perfect as special guest referee for Lex Luger and Yokozuna at WrestleMania 10.
Yes, something like that. Something that provokes Jarrett, I think.
WrestleMania 10 happened in 1994. It is a part of canon, just so you know. But yeah, that's ideal. And then on the cherry on top of all of this, right, is the polarizing MJF.
Oh boy.
Right. Who was the biggest babyface of all babyfaces at Forbidden Door against Hechicero in a match. I couldn't even tell you what happened in it.
I know Hechicero did the strut, and that was the highlight for me.
Yeah. And Hechicero did that wheelbarrow deal that you said Mikowski stole, or Mikowski uses.
Brought it to the U.S.
Brought to the U.S. Thank you. Way to politic that around. He did not say stolen. I said stole. And now, you know, he kind of throws Danny Garcia to the wolves against Will Ospreay. And then MJF puts the boots to him. Vicious beatdown on Dynamite. Which kind of you could see coming a mile away. That, like, you can tell that Will Ospreay's getting under the skin of MJF. And of course, Will Ospreay sees the character of Danny Garcia. And MJF uses that to his advantage to get closer to his target. And then, of course, on Collision, MJF returns to form. You know, ditching the leather jacket and the Triple H look and going back to himself. And you kind of pose the question, is the step back for Max actually a step forward for him? And I think you asked that question with some thoughts of your own.
Yeah, I was never going to buy MJF as a babyface, just not for me.
Right. He's just one of those guys who just lives in a clouded world of grays and blacks.
Yeah, and as a heel, I've seen too much professional wrestling in my lifetime to be able to just accept and hand wave the non-cohesive parts of acts that he steals from to make his own act and accept it as good. It's just not for me either. I think he doesn't work hard. Obviously does. He definitely has a place in the company. He should be featured, all those things.
Right.
I thought the beatdown, like most things MJF, overstayed its welcome. I was good with the visual of him like choking Garcia and Garcia's little head bobbling
Yes.
with the juice flowing. Thought that was great. Thought that's what you should have went off air with. I didn't need the convoluted setup to the tombstone pile driver or whatever from the second rope.
Mm-hmm.
If that's going to be his kill move or not, I didn't need him leaving through the crowd to definitely real people being mad. Throwing a little trash can like he's Paul Lee in 1989. I didn't need any of that. All that for me overstayed its welcome. And I was interested to see what they do on Collision for the follow-up. So tune into Collision, gets out there. He's back in the suit. He's back in
The Burberry.
MJF form as a heel, right? And he cuts the promo, the justification. Okay, whatever. Again, whole segment overstayed its welcome, as things usually do with him. But I get the justification. And I appreciate them not just making him some kind of psychopath like they usually would in WWE. I don't need to justify my actions to anybody. I appreciate that they put in some effort into the turn. I just feel like there are certain people in that company who just kind of seem stuck. And, maybe this comes back to a pillars thing. And call them pillars, call them whatever you want.
Mm-hmm.
But this company very clearly got behind 4 people. And I would say one person has absolutely lived up to the billing, and that's Darby.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it's because, Darby got paired off with Sting, and he wasn't overexposed, and he's more protected, and he does the dangerous stunts or whatever else, and he goes and he comes, whatever. But the output is the output, and Darby has a very high hit rate. And you look at the other 3, and Sammy Guevara is still off TV, possibly getting his 13th, 14th reboot, maybe, depending on what you believe. Jungle Boy, maybe this goat thing will get over. Probably not. And MJF is back here again. Pretty much where he was before he won the title. So I don't know if this is just like return to factory standard for MJF and we go from here, or if this just is what the character is. I'm not sure. It felt like he tried to take an aggressive step forward in the comeback, which I appreciate, even if, again, a lot of it didn't make sense. The Triple H jacket in AEW didn't make sense. Nothing about it made a lot of sense. I appreciated, okay, he's trying to change up his look. I can get that. But now he's right back to where he was a year and a half ago.
Yeah. I mean, you've kind of hit it, right? And, to quote a phrase that we both use a lot, MJF, I feel like they're going back to Casino Royale.
There we go. Thank you.
Like when everything gets lost in the story of MJF, just like in the story of James Bond, right? The creators of James Bond and the creative front, Casino Royale is the go back to spot, which is why we've had so many Casino Royales. And that's kind of where we are with MJF now. We're back to home and native, first position. This is MJF. Now, where do we go from here? Hard to say, right? Considering that they're kind of playing MJF with multiple strings, because even though now you are pushing him in the direction of Will Ospreay, there is still the Adam Cole situation that we're going to forget, even though he hit the Panama Sunrise and the Brainbuster on Hechicero.
Right. Adam Cole, Taven, Bennett, the Wardlow. Like,
Danny
There's
Garcia,
4.
Daddy Magic, Will Ospreay.
Danny Garcia, Daddy
That's
Magic,
7.
Will Ospreay. 7 people.
And yet Konosuke Takeshita ain't got nothing.
I got nothing for you.
Nothing
for Gretchen Wieners.
Nothing. Absolutely nothing for Gretchen Wieners. Time will tell. I'm kind of excited about Will Ospreay and MJF in Wembley. That match is going to be awesome because regardless of how I feel about like MJF outside of the ring, I think his run with the AEW title in ring, while he was still doing a lot of the goofy stuff with the double titles and like the kangaroo kicks and all that stuff too. This is also the same guy who like had a really awesome dog collar match with CM Punk, and he had a really great match, a really fun Iron Man match with Bryan Danielson. And I get it. You're as good as the people that you're in there with, but also you're now going to be in there with Will Ospreay. And if seeing what he did with CM Punk is an indication and seeing what he did with Bryan Danielson is an indication, MJF and Will Ospreay are going to have a banger at All In.
Without a doubt.
Right.
Without a doubt. Yeah, that's not a concern. As soon as I saw the angle, I was like, haha, people still think that Danny Garcia is still going to be the one to challenge. Like, Danny Garcia to me is going to come back at the Dynamite after Wembley and going to be MJF's win back after MJF loses to Ospreay at Wembley.
I don't know if that's the case.
And that's what I got.
I think MJF might beat Ospreay for the international title.
Okay.
And then Danny Garcia then challenges MJF for the international title.
I could see that maybe to move Ospreay up again.
Right, because that was one of the problems for me too with like Ospreay being international champion and then going for the world title. There's such a juxtaposition of like, I don't see in AEW's history people actually moving up the card.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody, at least over the last 5 years, with the exception of Swerve, but even then, Swerve's jump went from tag team to world title. Right? He was never really he was a part of the Continental Classic, and that was his breakout. But after that, it was world title or bust for him. And it was even world title or bust for him in the Continental Classic.
Yeah.
I don't see that many people in AEW who have made that jump from lower mid-card to mid-card, mid-card to upper mid-card to main event, right? Like, even Darby Allin on social media within the last like week or so posted a picture of him with the TNT title saying how much he missed the title. Obvious signs pointing to Jack Perry. Right? Does Darby need the TNT title? Absolutely not. Should Darby be challenging Swerve or even Okada or Will Ospreay?
Yeah.
Yep. But instead, like, everybody is kind of, for the good that they do, everybody is very in their box.
Yeah.
And there's no movement out of your box. And is that because of how loaded for bear AEW is? That there is so many people, so the thought process of boxes is too far out of reach? And like, there are no mid-carders and there are no upper mid, like everybody's elite. And like, anybody can challenge anybody at any time. But yes, you can. But what's the realization of somebody who's not one of the 7 or 8 pieces who are always at the top of the card?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we could probably name the 8 people who could legitimately be on the top of the card in AEW right now.
Right.
You know, what's the likelihood of anyone in that circle not being one of those 8? Tough to say. But I'm hoping that once like all the injury bugs get taken care of, Tony's playing with a full deck of cards, and we're able to float some stuff around. And if he's able to really manage the relationship between New Japan and AEW, I think that Wrestle Dynasty is going to be a very interesting card. But that's also like 6 months down the road.
Yeah, I'm not
We've got Wembley to worry. We've got Wembley to worry about before then. We have everything, Wrestle Dream and full gear and the whole all out. You know, it's all there. I'm looking through the notes. We've had a lot of that stuff. Cool. So I think that takes us into our second half of our double main event.
Oh.
And that is WWE Money in the Bank. How'd you feel about Money in the Bank?
Short show. I liked it. I do think it's really funny.
Hey, it could have been a 7-hour pay-per-view that you just hope is over.
Uncle Paul didn't mean that. That's not what he meant.
I genuinely believe that's not what he meant.
No, I fully believe he meant
WrestleMania.
The 2019 WrestleMania or whatever. Or
the WrestleMania with Roman.
Yeah, that one too.
32.
Before we dive in, 32. I do think it's funny, just like looking on Twitter and seeing people who've just kind of like got into wrestling the last couple of years, just now figure out how like shows work, and they're like, there was only an hour and a half of in-ring action, and the other like 2 hours was all like entrances and video packages and talking segments. And I'm like, oh, you just figured out that this is entertainment. It's so funny. So funny. You could do that to any indie show. You could do that to an AEW show. You could do that to anything. Like, there is an exact science to how much in-ring action you want to actually present during your wrestling show. But I thought it was pretty funny. But moving on to Money in the Bank, Trish Stratus hosting.
Then now forever.
Already in the A+ column. Very hard to lose. While I am not a national anthemer, I am here for O Canada. And if we have to set the table with the national anthem for O Canada to just wash it, I'm here for it.
Yep.
Fine.
No offense to Samantha Irvin. A fantastic rendition of the Star Spangled Banner. It's not your fault the song sucks. Okay? But whoever Grayson Waller was, or what the name of the guy, Rylan Rutabaga, whatever his name is.
From NXT? Some NXT guy?
No, he's an actual Canadian dude.
Is he with Tony Pepperoni?
No, he's with, if anything, he's with Ethan Page and Sean Spears.
Oh, okay.
Straight Canada, homie. Yeah. I'm always going to be pro O Canada all day, every day.
Without question.
Shout out to, I think it was Silverthorne who hit me up on Twitter and asked if French O Canada is greater than Canadian or English O Canada.
I got to leave that to the natives to sort out.
No, I believe in English O Canada. Okay. I know the English words. Somebody on Twitter just hit me up to national anthems aren't exactly known for being great music. Have you heard O Canada? O Canada's a great song, okay? You want to know what else is a great song? The Russian national anthem. You know what's not a great song? The Star Spangled Banner.
Yeah.
It's convoluted. It's weird.
Too many verses. I'm all for Money in the Bank, starting off with the Money in the Bank match.
Yep.
Here for it. Let's get to it. I was surprised by McIntyre winning. I kind of didn't think they were going to do it. Kind of mad with what ended up happening. That why didn't you just do that to begin with? Like, why don't you just have Punk cost him to begin with?
Because it's the long game. It is the slow knife.
But what if he didn't even win the match? Then Punk's just there chilling for no reason. You don't even get to beat the dude up.
Punk's there just to hit on Jessica Carr, man.
Oh, come on now.
Allegedly.
Come on.
You saw the video of him and her like wrestling in between segments at ringside.
It's a wrestling company. People wrestle. What do you want?
Not female referees.
She was a wrestler. It's not like she just rolled up in a zebra striped shirt one day. She used to work on the indies.
But Punk's trying to pick an ankle and like.
No, she picked his ankle. What are you talking about?
Oh, that's not what I saw.
You saw something completely different.
Okay.
I'm not going to stand for that.
You also gonna tell me that you got pictures of him and Phil, or her and Phil, April and Phil?
Pictures of anybody. I just wish that if they were going to do the interference, you would have done it in the ladder match instead. But whatever.
I feel like how they did the interference is exactly how they should have done the interference. The problem is, and I hate to do it, maybe the execution was weird during that World Heavyweight title match.
It felt like whoever was in charge of the music was watching like the broadcast feed instead of the direct feed, because they were a good like 5 to 7 seconds behind. So that's what I'm thinking.
I think that Priest wasn't supposed to kick out at all. And
yes,
as soon as the Falcon Arrow gets hit, then you cue the music and everybody stops.
Yeah.
Instead, 1, 2, throw, no.
Yeah.
Damian Priest goes into Anxious Cobra.
Yeah.
And then Drew McIntyre's music hits to make everybody forget that Damian Priest didn't kick out.
Yeah. Yep. It happens. Oh, well. You keep it moving. It was a lot of moving pieces to try to execute that segment.
It was complicated.
That was my other like main takeaway. Like too many moving pieces. Like you got Seth's return. You've got this extra stipulations of Seth can't challenge if Priest is champion, or Priest is going to vacate the Judgment Day spot, but also the world title's on the line. And then you get McIntyre running out with Money in the Bank. And then you've got CM Punk, or you got him, you got McIntyre cashing it in, making a triple threat match. Now you've got Punk costing him. Like, it was a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'm not right or wronging anything with Damian Priest and not kicking out. Like,
no, it's just too much going on.
Right. Like, I think if you're looking at it logically, yes, should he have kicked out? Yeah. But unless you're in there and it happens, like, nobody can really say except for like the ref and Damian and Seth, right?
And again, it's WWE. Just about everything there is rehearsed 1,000 times to death. I'm sure that spot, those cues had been timed up and hit and ran through over and over to death. Mm-hmm. But you know, the 1 out of 99 hit.
The red light was on and people got caught in the headlights.
So yeah, that was that. I thought Braun Steiner looked good.
Who?
Braun Steiner.
I don't know who that is. Until they call him Steiner, his name's not Steiner.
Like the match, thought he looked good.
Yeah.
Everything's fine there.
Yeah.
Sam Zayn, real good.
Really good at this wrestling thing. Yep. Nailed it.
Now, I think where we're going to be divided is the women's Money in the Bank ladder match.
Okay. Yeah. Because a lot of people are still standing in the Air Canada or the Scotiabank Arena giving that a standing ovation for 2 ridiculous out of this world spots that ended the match. But I saw Lyra Valkyria and Zoe Stark do a whole bunch of negative point getting through that match. That like, cool, Naomi did a split and hit a DDT. And sure, it was a car crash and it was violent. And it was, I'm going to use this phrase in a positive sense and not a negative, but clunky.
Mm-hmm.
You know, junky. There's a lot of struggle in the match, but it still doesn't do anything for me that like Lyra Valkyria was like one of the odds-on favorites to win. And like they showcased her pretty heavily during the entire match. And I'm not here for her. And they're still trying to make Zoe Stark a thing. And I'm not here for it. I think the right person won, like, regardless of what she likes on Instagram or not. Tiffany Stratton, I think that's the right call for Money in the Bank.
Yeah, especially when we had what happened with McIntyre and the one night usage of the Money in the Bank.
Mm-hmm.
Like going to Stratton, letting her have this, letting her get established on TV, giving her right, like let her keep this till January, February. Like this is
we ain't had a woman cash in at WrestleMania.
Yeah, like we haven't had that night after WrestleMania, like something along those lines. I think that's how long this one's going. Just to give her the opportunity to get more established on TV.
Right.
But I really like the match, dude. Like, I like Zoe Stark. So I didn't see the negatives that you saw with Zoe Stark, but I can co-sign triple stamp to double stamp on Lyra, who I know Becky Lynch was in her corner and gave her the rub in NXT.
Mm-hmm.
Seems like she is a big Shawn Michaels project or favorite. That's just the vibe I'm getting. Not doing any reporting there. Again, I've just seen a lot of WWE to know this person ain't got it yet. Not saying she can't, not saying she won't, but right now, ain't it?
Right.
You can say that rep should have went to Dakota Kai, whoever else, but Zoe Stark will send some clotheslines. Like she'll make some contact.
Right. Like,
so I like Zoe Stark in that regard.
And I do
She's
like
a
Zoe
bit of a wild
too.
card.
I don't like this iteration of Zoe Stark.
The Predator face paint?
Yeah.
Predator, running man.
It's just not for me. Like,
whatever.
I love her and Shayna. I love the stuff that they're doing surrounding Sonya. And like, they're kind of listless, and Zoe's kind of listening to Sonya, but respecting Shayna.
Wait, Sonya Deville?
Yeah.
She back?
Yes.
On Raw?
I'm begging you, watch the product.
I watched Raw the last month. I haven't seen this.
Yeah, so Sonya's back, and she's talked to them as a team of okay, hey, nobody takes you guys seriously. I can help you guys break through the hump and be taken as serious tag team competitors. Zoe's receptive, and Shayna's you know what? I'm not buying, right?
Okay.
So over the last couple of weeks, Zoe and Shayna have had ships passing in the night vibes.
Mm-hmm.
That Shayna is pulling Zoe away from Sonya.
It's Willow, Statlander, and Stokely. It's the exact thing.
But they're all girls.
Gotcha. Okay. Got it.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Right. And so there's that. So yes, Sonya Deville back on television. No, not wrestling, but she's there. So yay.
Yeah. All right.
So I guess we get to like the two big talking points of Money in the Bank, right?
Yeah, what do you want to talk about? That was me doing the clip of Joe dropping the clip.
Joe dropping the clip of Cody, dropping the clip of Cody calling out Homelander, asking Homelander what he wants to talk about. That's the one. With the laser eyes.
Also, quick note. Having never seen an episode of the Amazon Prime television show, The Boys.
How would you also, if you were somebody else in the wrestling world, how else would you say the name of that show on Amazon?
The Boys. I certainly do not want to watch an episode now after how heavily it was promoted in Money in the Bank. I'm good.
Right.
Good.
Let's talk about the 6-man. Right?
Please.
Let's get the bad out of the way first. Tongaloa.
Dude. My
it's
dude got
people in the taint. I don't know.
Did you see him? Did you see the clip of him
hitting his head?
Going, yeah.
My man was glazed
and going full froze Jamie.
He glazed. Yeah.
He's not. And I like watched it back, and I was like, it is the table. It's also how hard he's getting hit from Cody, who's a decent sized dude.
He's thick,
hitting that. And like you see his head on contact go back and forth like and 3 or 4 times.
And he's kind of hitting the hardest part of the table because
then he hits the table. So it's like at 5 different points, his head went. Brrr.
I'm not laughing at his concussion. I'm laughing at you telling me how his head rattled. If there was a doctor out there, could you tell that there was any apparent wooziness?
There was definitely some apparent wooziness. He would be in the blue medical tent, and what was
the giveaway on the apparent wooziness? The fact that he uppercut Kevin Owens' butthole first, or that he straight up hammer fisted his brother's head, going for the dong shot.
He wasn't going to miss a second time.
Leave for all y'all say about these crazy strikes he's hitting on Okada. Maybe we give him more of these hachas and less important nut shots during package pile drivers on premium live events.
He probably would have hit the low blow. One take, no problem, if he wasn't seeing 5 Kevin Owens there.
Well, if he would have stopped moving.
Plus moving. There's 5 Kevin Owens he's seeing, and they're all moving.
If he would have been wearing those Zubazes like he was coming into the building, instead of wearing all these gym shorts, maybe he'd have a better shot. But
my dude was going through it. Have you looked at his eyes in the post show thing where they talk to Solo like it's inside the NBA with like the player of the game? My dude is back there. He is cooked.
Yeah, it was definitely July 6th, but his eyes were telling me it was April 20.
He was going through it.
He was having himself a Earth Day.
I feel bad for him.
Oh yeah, for sure. Infamous. More like I don't know. I can't think of anything to go with infamous.
In concussion protocol.
But for all the bad, there's a really good. Don't know if you remember us telling you this earlier. Jacob Fatu, actually that guy.
Dude. That guy, they couldn't help but put the camera on him. Like, he just commands the attention out there. I know, but he's done bad things. He's ripped people off. I don't know, that the ripping people off part sounds cool.
That's some outlaw-ish.
Sounds good for the business.
Hey, look, Double J holds some people up. Everybody loves him. Jacob Fatu takes some fundraising money. Oh, it's bad.
Allegedly,
not even real.
I love on commentary how they were like, yeah, we didn't know which 3 people of the bloodline it was going to be because we were trying to get him into the country.
Oh, did you hear that, like, Triple H was actually, like, whether or not you believe it or not, but Triple H was, like, on the horn with the Canadian government to make sure that Jacob Fatu could get into the country? Well, I don't know if it was Triple H. I don't think Triple H is making that call, but I bet WWE Legal was.
It's probably whoever takes it was probably Brucey. Brucey's the guy who takes the long walks with the fire marshal.
Bruce Pritchard, Bruce Pritchard, international liaison, WWE.
Yeah,
sure.
Either way, dude rocks.
Yeah, I'm glad Border Patrol was easy on him going in because that would. Whew.
Dude's a stud, man.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can recall, like, easily off the top of my head. I'm not trying to, but like, once you saw him and Kevin Owens occupy the same space, it's like, oh, these two are made for each other. These two are going to have a crazy match that is not going to feel like WWE.
The last time I've thought that was probably Roman Strowman.
Okay.
Like, for everything that people have negative to say about Brawny Strowman's, the Braun Strowman Roman Reigns feud from, like, what was that, 2015, 2016, maybe later?
Yeah, 2016, I think.
The I'm not finished with you.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
And, like, whenever they saw each other, it was on site. And that's Jacob Fatu and Kevin Owens. It's also Jacob Fatu and Randy Orton.
When he got hit with the Hangman's DDT and he, like, absorbed it, he didn't just, like, pop up. He was like, oh, that hit for real. All right,
shake it off.
And then he got back up, and Orton's down there doing the Viper pose. And like, Orton look up.
As soon as he spun around and he went down, he was like, man, I see feet. Crap.
And then the other moment of the match was when they were about to shield powerbomb, I think Solo through the table.
Yep.
And Jacob Fatu jumps off the guardrail. It goes 3v1.
And wins.
Really, and 4v1 if you include the ref.
Yeah, Jason Ayers getting it.
He just beat everybody in a matter of like 30 seconds out there. That was awesome.
And again, WWE is making everyone believe that Solo Sikoa is that guy. Jacob Fatu does the heavy work, heavy lifting, and just like Solo did for Roman, where Solo would clean Roman's mess and then get the target up and call for Roman to give the big shot. Jacob did the exact same for Solo. Spike Dad. 1, 2, 3, middle of the ring on Cody.
So that does lead us to what naturally feels like Solo versus Cody at SummerSlam.
Yes.
Seems like the Orton thing is not for now.
Nope.
Still seems to be a lot of foreshadowing.
Yep.
With Orton looking at the title, walking into the building and stuff like that. But that can be put on the back burner. Maybe that's Survivor Series, but it's not now. How do you feel about the escalation? Because Solo did, again, called out Cody on SmackDown, that cool vignette we got. They did kind of speed run, I think, through a little bit of storytelling, like a good 2 or 3 months. They kind of sped through with that vignette. However, we're here. We got the 1, 2, 3 on Cody. Seems to be lined up for Solo versus Cody. How you feeling?
Pull the trigger. Strap up,
Yeah?
Solo.
For some reason, and maybe it's because you, along with Joe, have been on the Cody bandwagon since day one. I didn't think we were going to be aligned on this.
I love Cody. I still love Cody. I'm still on the Nightmare Narcotic. However, hot hand's the hot hand. You got to deal with the dealer. And if you just have Cody wash the bloodline again in the blood of Christ, it ain't for nothing. How many times? It took Cody 2 times to beat the last tribal chief, and he had to have the Avengers. Now, Solo's got the other Avengers. He's got the West Coast Avengers now hanging out. The Thunderbolts coming in. And Cody don't have John Cena and the Undertaker to be picking off Jacob Fatu and Tangaloa. Oh, wait, and I forgot about Tommy Tonga. Okay?
The infamous.
No, Tangaloa's infamous.
Oh, sorry.
Tonga's the good one. I'll let you determine if I want John Cena or the Undertaker going after Tangaloa. But yeah, Cody's got to come up short against Solo.
Yeah. Until
we get the numbers game again, I got nothing for it. Like, Solo's got to win the title, and whatever happens after that, like, does he hold it till the Royal Rumble? Like, there's a lot of questions, a lot of movement, a lot of moving parts that I'm here for. But I think that the first point of order is, if we are going to take Solo Sikoa as the actual legitimate tribal chief of the bloodline, he has to one pitch, one swing, home run.
Yes.
He's got to turn on it and hit it Albert Pujols 743 feet out of the country, right?
Yeah.
He's got to smash it. And I
and
think he does.
People might say, still don't buy Solo, yada yada. And I don't disagree with that, because that's personal taste. That's buy-in. I can't convince anybody. But I can say that there have been lesser over people who have won the title with zero story. And what we have is still one of the best stories that WWE's ever done, still going on. And it's been heated back up with this new incarnation of the bloodline. Solo's got to win. He's got to win the belt. I'm all in on Solo Sikoa becoming WWE champion. And I'm not here for, oh, well, Roman can come to Cody's rescue, or Orton and Owens can. No. Solo's got to get done. Like you said, one pitch, one swing, over the fence.
Yeah. And, that kind of leads into multiple things we're going to talk about, right? First is a uncharacteristic one-part Ed Cody question.
Ooh.
Talking about the actual crowning of the tribal chief, and the question being why Paul Heyman had to be the one to present the Ula Fala to Solo. Now, I'm taking liberties in my storytelling of like what exactly it is. They never really said what it was. But since I was right about the Wyatt Six stuff with Chad Gable disgracing his family, now the Wyatt Six are going after him because of what he's done to his family, and they said that on Raw 2 weeks ago or last week. I feel like I feel like I'm in tune with the Paul Triple H Levesque era. I'm kind of locked in, so to speak. I think that Paul is a trusted counsel for all the Samoans. I think of him as like the law, like he's not the law and order, but he's the judge, right? He's the appointed official who serves the entire bloodline. At least he did at that point. He was the one who originally christened, or no, was it Afa or Sika that christened Roman with
Correct.
the Ulafala?
Yeah.
But Paul has so much history with the Samoans that it
And
is.
Paul has been the keeper
Yes,
of the Ulafala.
correct.
Once Roman
like,
takes it off, it always goes to Paul.
correct.
And Paul always feeds it back to Roman.
Correct. And so at this point, it was more symbolic that like Paul had presented Roman with the Ulafala for years as the tribal chief. That like the ultimate way for Solo to know that Paul truly acknowledges him as the tribal chief is to adorn him with the Ulafala. And that's why it meant so much in WWE storytelling when Paul, much like Shane Douglas in 1993, throws down the NWA title. He throws down the Ulafala in rejection of the new tribal chief, in rejection of the new head of the table. So I don't know if it's like it had to be Paul for like a specific reason, but I think in the context of everything, he's the keeper, he's the trusted counsel, he's the authoritarian who communes directly with the elders, right? Like,
Yeah.
Paul,
So, my take on it was less about what it meant to Solo and more about what it meant to Paul.
right?
It was Paul's test of this is how you're going to acknowledge me. Because any other dude could have put that on Solo, but it was Paul's test.
Mhm.
He did it for Roman, do it for me. And Paul failed the test, and he had to pay the price. And before Joe yells at us, it was 94 that Shane Douglas threw down the NWA title.
I thought it was 93.
94.
Well, I get you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
The whole thought process is there.
But that's it. It was more so as Paul's test than anything.
Right.
And that's why it's good, because Solo's a meanie picking on old Paul Heyman.
Yeah. So we get all this bloodline stuff to then be trumped by the last time is now. Boys and girls and non-binary pals who listen to us, you missed out on an era of us where we talked about the Cenacalypse.
Mm-hmm.
And the color chart of John Cena shirts and what they all mean.
Got to see if we can find that. Yeah.
Red's bad. Red is high.
Yeah, so we know how Death Con works. We do it in reverse order.
Yeah.
Where 5 is the worst.
Yeah.
Red shirt Cena is Death Con 5.
Yeah, this is not to be messed with. This is batting the hatches.
Like, y'all think he's coming back? Y'all think he's coming back for a little goodbye, or a little comeback? No. If he's wearing the red shirt, he's finding your favorite, he's beating your favorite, and he's doing so in short order and cutting off all momentum. He will quench your thirst and love of pro wrestling and WWE and whoever your favorite is.
He will extinguish it.
He will extinguish that flame.
Yes.
That is what red shirt John Cena does.
Yes. So, John Cena announces that 2025 is his final year of wrestling. And amidst all of the crazy questions that he answers during the press conference, which that was a really cool gag that like Cena was blowing through the stop signs and was just like, yo, one last question, and he just like kept going, and you felt the chaos, or it came across chaotic. He does actually address the farewell tour. It is January to December 2025.
Okay.
It's 30 to 40 dates.
Okay.
During that run, including the Royal Rumble, WrestleMania, SummerSlam.
Okay.
Right? So, I told you this wasn't going to be a short show. We're giving you plenty to talk about, plenty to listen to over the next 2 weeks as we're on vacation next week. Marcus, I don't know if you know this or not, but we're sitting by a pool right now. How are we prognosticating how John Cena's 2025 turns out?
So I will say that the whole year of 2025 changes things as opposed to just the January to April run, right?
Right.
So there's more storytelling that you could do amongst those events.
Right. Because
Cena,
before we go in any further, Cena does talk about it in the press conference. Somebody brings up whether or not he's going to win number 17.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the ultimate question, right? Can Cena topple Ric Flair and become the ultimate champion in professional wrestling, right?
Mm-hmm.
He mentions he is in the back of the line because he's been gone, he's lost more than he's won, back of the line. However, the Royal Rumble lets you skip the line, and Money in the Bank lets you skip the line.
Mm-hmm.
And Cena mentioned both of them by name in the press conference.
Okay. So I could see Cena being in like the final 3 of the Rumble, final 4.
Mm-hmm.
But not winning it.
Who's the final 4?
Let's say it's,
because in my mind, Cody is not WWE champion at this time.
okay.
I still have at Royal Rumble, I still have Solo Sikoa.
Okay. I'm going to say that it's Mr. Phil. It's Cena.
Mm-hmm.
It's maybe Orton.
Mm-hmm.
And a newish person. Not like brand new, but like a top guy for now.
Braun Breaker? Gunther?
Yeah, like
or is
Gunther
Gunther World Heavyweight Champion?
Gunther, McIntyre, Rollins, one of the current like top guys right now.
Okay.
So I think that's going to be Final 4. He mentioned Elimination Chamber. I don't think he's in a chamber. I think he's in some sort of attraction tag match.
Mm-hmm.
Or something. You get to Mania. This is where it gets weird. Because if he's going to win, 17. You got to do it at WrestleMania, right? Feels right.
Mm-hmm.
So, does he find a way in? I don't know. If he just has like one more match and it's his last WrestleMania match against Orton, which is what I want.
That's what I want.
Then that's cool. And we've found out, you know, even with this year's WrestleMania, there's always a person or three left without a dance partner, since they love to make WrestleMania dance and you just need a date. Doesn't matter what you're doing. That with Brock out, with the injuries that pop up, you always end up with somebody who's left without a partner.
Right.
So John Cena helps fill that.
Right.
So he could just be, you know, your second or third biggest match on a night. That's the Cena match. We fast forward. Him mentioning Money in the Bank is cool. I could see him winning Money in the Bank and having the opportunity to cash it in anytime. John Cena being all about hustle, loyalty, respect, will call his shot in advance. And maybe he calls it for SummerSlam.
Mr. SummerSlam.
And maybe that's where we do it. He wins or loses, whatever. How I do see this wrapping up is I think it's Survivor Series. I think that is Cena's last hurrah. And I think it's the big megastar 5-on-5 match.
Okay.
Where like you get him teaming, like it's Orton and it's Punk and it's Owens and it's Cody and it's Cena. Versus whatever 5 heels you're getting over at the time.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's it.
So I have things a little differently.
Okay.
I know that historically in wrestling, everybody goes out on their back.
Mm-hmm.
I think the story of 2025 is going to be Cena chasing glory the whole year. He goes into the Royal Rumble. He falls short. He has his stumbling blocks. He gets close. He has his match with Randy at WrestleMania. Bucket list option gone. Okay. So then he goes into Money in the Bank, right? And he's on the line for Money in the Bank. He goes to Money in the Bank. He's like the second to last guy. He gets it snuffed out from him and somebody else gets the briefcase, right? To me, Cena goes all the way through 2025. No WWE Championship, no World Heavyweight Championship. Until the last week of 2025. And Cena's on Raw on Netflix. And he goes, "This is my last night in WWE. I want one shot at the World Heavyweight Championship or the WWE Championship. There's probably a draft that'll take place. Titles get switched around. World Heavyweight title will end up on SmackDown and the WWE title will be on Raw." Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And Cena challenges for the WWE title on the last Raw of 2025.
Okay.
And wins.
Mm-hmm.
And you vacate the title.
Mm-hmm.
And you get to the Royal Rumble in 26.
Yep.
Which they've already announced Rumble 26 in Indy, right?
That's this year's 25.
Okay, so they haven't announced where the Rumble's going to be in 26. So here we go. Rumble 26 is going to be in Saudi Arabia. This is how they sell to the Saudis that the Royal Rumble is a bigger deal than WrestleMania.
Okay.
You do a Saudi Royal Rumble where the winner of the Royal Rumble is the WWE champion. Cena goes out on top. He immediately vacates the title, and it puts extra emphasis on the Royal Rumble for that year. And it becomes like the star-studded who's who, what's what match that the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia can pay for. And you do your paid show where they bring back all the best hits. And they open up the piggy bank and you bring every star you can to the Royal Rumble. But I feel like a year-long chase for Cena, only for it to be a last-second miracle. But I want them to run back all of his like greatest hits feuds, right? Like, I want him and Orton. I want him and Punk. Him and Cody has to happen. Right?
I don't think so.
I think so.
No.
You don't think?
Nope. I think Cena has enough self-awareness now.
I think
even though I want him to face Orton.
I think Cody wants it.
I don't think he's going to face. I don't think he's going to split the audience. I think that Cena is such a beloved instant nostalgia act that he's not going to want any negativity potentially. So I think it's all going to be straight up heels. I don't think there's going to be, I hate to not say anything interesting, but I just don't think there's going to be any sort of crowd diversion like that.
He owes
even
LA
Orton,
Knight.
I'm on the fence about. Like, yeah, like I think he's going to team with LA Knight a lot. I think he's going to team with Orton. They might even win the tag titles. Like, might team with Owens.
The team with Punk.
Team with Punk. Yeah, I think there's going to be a lot of attraction. Yes, I think there's going to be a lot of attraction tag team matches. There might be moments in the Rumble, in Money in the Bank, if he's in an elimination chamber, where there are other faces. Survivor Series, like there's going to be other people within the match, but actual programs, I don't think he's going to be facing anybody that's on the face side.
I would also really, now this is just me fantasizing. I want a 1 month stop at NXT for Cena. I don't care who the program's with. I don't care. You've got plenty of time between now and 2025 to find me the guy that John Cena is going to go work and shine up. I'll be true to me. Unless he's already called up. Obafemi. John Cena, Obafemi.
When that happens, there will be no more John Cena. A John Cena NXT run would end this whole thing. There's no chance of that happening. I'm trying to think. I think there's going to be a him and Roman interaction, which will be cool.
Yeah. There's a him and Rock interaction.
Yeah.
I don't think we get Rock Cena again.
No.
I don't think we get Roman Cena again.
No. Cena knows where he's at, and I think you can watch the last couple years of the John Cena one-off matches to know John Cena knows where he's at. Yeah, I don't think there's going to be any room for anything to go haywire. I don't think John Cena is going to put himself in a situation where it's, for lack of better words, two old guys fumbling around. He will not let this be a DX versus Brothers of Destruction situation. That's just not going to happen.
Right.
But yeah, I feel conflicted, and again, it's because as you watch a whole bunch of wrestling, I was there for, and we were there for DEFCON 5. We were there for the red shirt. We were there for the green shirt. We were there for the orange shirt.
Yep.
We were there for the Cena that was going to run through your favorites and kill any interest and just beat people on Monday Night Raw because he could. And he was going to kill one of the coolest angles to ever happen and have it be dead and meaningless in a matter of 6 weeks with the Nexus angle. We lived through that, John Cena. You cannot erase that from my memory. But then in 2014, he does a lot of career rehabbing with after the Wyatt program. And as you get into 2015, it's the open challenges for the U.S. title. And he does a lot of rehab post that, to where that is the version of John Cena that people remember, is that last 3 years, 2015, 2016, 2017, going on SmackDown, wrestling AJ Styles, that brand of Cena. And I just, like, I'm going to enjoy it. But at the same time, I'm like, man, you really hurt me a lot. You really hurt the interest in I think the growth of a lot of people in the company for a long time. And interesting things didn't happen under your watch for a really long time.
Yeah.
And be that whether the company was prioritizing being commercialized, whatever. It happened under his watch, and it hurt. There was a lot of hurt. And so, yeah, it's going to be a weird one. And a point I wanted to bring up while you were talking about, like, typically people going out on their backs, the time-honored tradition, yada, yada, yada. Bring it back to what we talked about earlier with AEW being the challenger brand. How much of this, if any, is seeing how well AEW did with Sting's one last run, and WWE saying, oh, that can be recreated and we can do it our way, with our last hero, with our last superhero, John Cena. Curious to see if they can pull it off. It will not be Sting. Got me messed up.
Hard to be Sting.
Ain't nobody gonna be Sting. Ain't nothing gonna be Sting. Can't touch Sting.
And that's mainly because, so, like, it's not gonna be Sting for us, but it's probably gonna be Sting for kids 10 years younger than us.
It's gonna be Sting for a lot of people. A lot of 20-year-olds, a lot of late 20-year-olds,
early
30-year-olds.
Yep.
This is gonna be their Sting, and that feels weird to say, but that's what it is.
Yeah. It's crazy. But it's crazy to think that WWE is telling me that I'm excited for 2025 when we're not even halfway done with 2024.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm ready to go. Now, I will say, I'm a little confused that they announced an announcement that John Cena's like, I'm announcing my retirement in 18 months. Right?
But like, that's what Sting did, right? Like, Sting comes out and he says, like, Revolution's going to be my last match, but there's a lot of time.
That was like 6 months.
When did Sting make that? I can't remember when Sting made that announcement.
October.
September?
October 2023.
Okay.
And he retired
5 months
in March.
Okay, so 5 months. Okay.
So WWE has tripled the amount of time between the announcement of the retirement and when they're saying the retirement is over.
Yeah. But for WWE has a lot more stadiums and a lot more dates to fill than AEW
And there's
does.
a lot more for right or wrong, there's a bigger marketing machine in WWE
Yes.
than there is
For
in
John
AEW.
Cena. Yes.
Yeah.
1,000%.
They gotta book the towns, and they gotta spin all of it and make it work.
Right. Like if you're one of these suitors trying to get a WWE show, how much more valuable did Survivor Series just become? Because you're going to have John Cena. How much more valuable did Money in the Bank just become? Because you're going to have John Cena. Yeah, it was probably going to be a sellout anyways, but now you've added an extra attraction on top of things. Now the price has gone up.
And imagine how many of those TVs by announcing John Cena's retirement in 2025 and it being the whole tour, every stop, house show, TV, premium live event will be a sellout. Yep. And they're going to make so much money off of these "The Last Time Is Now" shirts and towels. It's gonna be bonkers.
And
Cena's gonna be pulling Austin 98 numbers with this shirt.
And going to what The Rock was saying back in March, in those Netflix meetings or whatever. Hey, are you going to be part of this or what? Yes, I will. Signed $5 billion. When you got partners like that and you can say, hey, we got John Cena's last run, our first year in the Netflix partnership. Probably makes a lot of people happy. Again, I try not to cheer for capitalism. It doesn't make a difference one way or another. But for WWE, they're very good at doing WWE. And this is another instance of them being very good at doing WWE.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. We have covered quite a bit this evening today.
Sure have.
On this episode. But, Marcus, we're not done. Not by a long shot.
And now, Tim Taylor presents The Undertaking.
And this week on The Undertaking, The Undertaker interviews wrestler Ed Cody. No, he interviews Dennis Knight, also known as Mideon, Shanghai Pierce. Couldn't tell you anything else that he's been named, but boy howdy. This is an episode to go watch. I hate to say that, Mark from Texas has put out 2 bangers in a row, but this one's it too, for multiple reasons. Okay. One, it is announced during the show that Dennis Knight is the only liberal of the Bone Street crew.
Wow. I knew I liked Mideon.
He does a 34 count Donald Trump joke within 10 minutes of the podcast, which immediately gets Taker and his boy going, oh, we don't talk politics here. Oh, don't do politics. Yeah.
Well, to me, that's not politics.
Pseudo police, pseudo military.
That's justice system,
Yeah. But, boy, Mideon was on one. But yeah,
right,
Mideon tells a bunch of stories about doing drugs, which is awesome. He tells a story that he was the first wrestler in the WWE to ask Stephanie McMahon out on a date.
I did see that clip.
Yes. But a ton of stories of just Dennis, Mideon doing drugs and trying not to get beat up by the Undertaker. It was awesome. It was fun.
And Eddie gets a good Trump joke in too. So
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
Yeah, the Undertaking has been hot, dude. Like it has been so much fun. Very displeased that we have not had another live read of boner pills.
Mm.
We're still milking this to death. Nope, that's the wrong one.
It's like steroids for your wiener.
But legal. Like we're still
Illegal.
riding that into the sunset.
Tombstone your trousers.
Tombstone that put like I don't know. Like put her in her final wrestling place. With,
Okay. Him as a sponsor?
yo, I would love Mark.
It probably doesn't cost that much. It
Hit us
seems like
up.
he's hard up for money.
I don't want to pay him. I'm not on the Patron. As much as I'd love to like be on the Patreon to like get a question read by him and to like make him do like All Elite Scooby-Doo again. All that'd be cool. But yeah, man, Undertaker's killing it like 2 episodes in a row, which means that when I wake up and I see the new episode of The Undertaker, 6 Feet Under with Mark Calloway featuring his church friend, like when I see that as my dog is just staring at a death, like can you see her?
Yeah.
Like she is just death glaring me right there. Which means that, you know, we've had a couple of really fun episodes with Undertaker. You know, we had the Chris Van Vliet episode. We had him talking about Mr. Hitman. We had Mideon on, which means next he's going to like pull up the corpse of the American Sniper. Kyle Rittenhouse. I don't know what his name was. It's going to be somebody stupid.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just going to make me mad to watch. I will tell you that I almost had to do a spontaneous second offering of The Undertaking because I got bamboozled by an account called Powerful JRE. There's a new Joe Rogan podcast channel.
Okay.
That is like uploading all the interviews of Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
And the Undertaker episode landed on it. And it was like uploaded 45 minutes ago. And I was like, oh man, did Joe Rogan get the Undertaker again? So I was like, dang it, now I gotta watch Joe Rogan and rot my brain more. But luckily, I started watching it, and a lot of things, a lot of PTSD triggers happened, and I immediately was like, I've already seen this. Stop the press. Get me the H out of here. You know, as somebody would like to tell us.
It's enough.
You know, that's perfect. You know, that's enough. But other than that, that's all the Undertaking. Did you have any weekly purchases this week?
I did dip into the funds to do some weekly purchases. Matt Botvin had a Canada Day drop, as he's had the last 3 years now, maybe 4. But yeah, I definitely picked up some Hart family memorabilia, some booties, if you will. So yeah, those will be coming in the next couple weeks. Got the little one, her action figures, they came in the mail. She's pretty pumped about those, still playing with those every day. Probably get her some more here pretty soon. I think that was it for weekly purchases though.
I also had some Botvin purchases. Cannot wait for the shorts to come in and the shirt. WWE Shop also did a retro SummerSlam 94 shirt. And even though it's got the block logo, and even though there is not a Domino's pizza ad on this shirt, It still is a soft spot for me. Undertaker versus Undertaker, Leslie Nielsen style. So I bought that from WWE Shop. They had it in Fat Man sizes, so that was awesome. But the main event for this week, aside from anniversary stuff with my wife, is I spent 150 units on my car.
All right.
Yeah, dog. I had my 90,000 mile service on my car. You know, just more so like just getting things replaced that need to be replaced. So like new spark plugs, transmission fluid flush, coolant
Piston
flush,
instructions, shocks,
flocks. You know that I'm not bragging. Have you ever seen a dragon?
Oh,
You know, that's right. Can't say that. But it ended up being like 150 units. So that was not fun. So your boy is open to opportunities to refund the clickety clank piggity bank, so to speak. So if you got a line on the socks, I'll take it, Kevin. So I'm here for that. But all in all, fun time. I am hoping I can catch the these Walmart displays of action figures in the wild, so I can get my street clothes Big Kev.
okay.
And I kind of want Made in the USA Lex Luger. I kind of want that fig.
The SummerSlam, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I want that one too.
I kind of want that as a Lucy.
They did really well with the SummerSlam figs this year and the Survivor Series figs too.
Nice.
Like I find myself wanting to get all of them.
Do it. But that is everything for us. Marcus, do you have anything to plug?
Let's see. Yes, this Friday, Mr. Pig's going to be down at RVA Wrestling, in Richmond, Virginia, teaming with the big gal Erica Lee.
Honk honk.
Yeah, taking on a couple people. We're going to have a bad Friday night. It's going to be a hot night in Richmond. It's going to be even hotter night at the merch table. So go ahead if you're in the area, check out Mr. Pig. Good luck trying to get any extra tickets because them bad boys are sold out. Because
super no vacancy.
Pig does, yeah. And then also July 27th, Mr. Pig is going to be back in Norfolk, Virginia at VCW, doing what he does best, which is also sell out that place. He's got a street fight, so bunkhouse attire is in order, and
it's going to be
fight.
Out.
So, or in, who knows? So, yeah, good couple shows here for Mr. Pig.
Good. I'll be at Pro Wrestling Empire this weekend doing commentary. So find that on Facebook or however you find it. Pretty fun card. It's their first foray back into the greater Lancaster area, or the greater what is that area called in Pennsylvania?
South Central PA.
That's it. Their return back to South Central PA. After a while, it's the company that I did some commentary for during the pandemic as well. If you remember me seeing some stuff from that, it's kind of an offshoot of that. So glad to be on the call with a couple of the boys from 3 Count Thursday. That should be really fun on a Sunday. So can't beat it. Because Daddy needs to make some money for NCAA College Football 25, baby.
There we go.
That's right. But other than that, the only other thing to plug is the Soon to Be Named Network. Soon to Be Named Network.tumblr.com. It's your home for this and so many other podcasts, including but not limited to our wrestling offerings of At Odds to Wrestling with Joe and Adam and We Need Wrestling with DJ and Brett. Check everything out on the Twitter at STBN Network. If anybody's on other shows outside of the network and they let Joe know, they'll be there. Check out the T Public store for designs from our show, so we can help keep the lights on at the network. If you want to follow us on social media, you absolutely can. At Not the Tool Man for me, at the Wrestling Speakeasy for Marcus. If you know, you know. At TNM Shows for us on Twitter. At Final Wrestling Place on Instagram for all of that. So check all of that out as it goes. Be sure to like and subscribe on YouTube as well, just to keep things going. We may be posting some other stuff up there later as time goes. So just be a part of that early before things start flying. Again, we will probably be off next week. If you get a surprise show, it's probably a Q&A because you flooded the Discord and you flooded the comment section and you hit up the email box and you let us know, and I can answer some questions while Marcus is out enjoying the fruits of his wedded bliss. So, all that's left right now, though, Marcus, is to tell the people goodbye.
Bye, boys.